Okay, so as you can see, progress has been made. All of the sheeting is done, top and bottom, and I have built the front half of the fuselage. So I glued the formers together, which are crap, across this also quite crap piece of light ply. I then epoxy it to the front, which was wrong, but never mind. Not epoxy, PVA glue. I should have kept it separate supposedly, but never mind. That just needs a bit of sanding off on the top there. I then put in all the stringers, trying to make it straight again because I didn't want to be straight. There is one missing here, but that's so I can get in and access this retract section. These holes were too small for these bearers, so I've had to file them out and glue them in. The retract supposedly just sits on top of these, so the gap between them isn't too important, which is nice. I now need to somehow cut this out to make the sort of box that the retract slides through. So we'll move on to that now. Okay, so I've had extension leads made up to bring all the servo leads to the front, roughly where the receiver is going to be. And now we're going to sheet the fuselage. I have my horrible smelling ammonia in there with the brush. And yeah, so I'm gonna, it sort of goes in a little bit at the back, which means that we're going to probably have to do a little bit of filler in that section, because I didn't quite realise that. Whether I fill it with literally filler or if I find a piece of wood, I'm not 100% sure yet. But yes, we will start working on this. This, by the way, is not finished, it's just a rough cut before we finish it, so that I didn't have bits dangling enough to get broken. Aha! So, the sheeting has been done. Now, the first way I did it was a disaster, so I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but the second sheet that I did was a lot better. So basically what I did was I covered it in the ammonia stuff. You can either use ammonia or water, but the ammonia stuff does seem a bit better than water. And what I ended up doing was gluing it along the bottom edge so that it was sort of solid. Then bending it over to match the shape, of course slightly on top of the other piece of wood that I put on slightly wrong. Then we basically left it to dry. Okay, so it wasn't glued other than at the bottom, but it was left to dry with some rubber bands, which is why you can see some slight lines there, and lots and lots and lots of really crappy masking tape. Now, once that had dried out and we took it all off, it didn't try springing back. You weren't fighting with the wood. That's the whole reason the ammonia is there. Basically, what we then did is took a decent ruler, crossed this top edge, and sliced it to get rid of the slight little bit of excess. Now, down by the front, it's quite a nice job, quite a nice job, quite a nice job. Basically, touching here, you can see there where I sort of tacked it the first time. And then there's a bit of a gap here, and then it's nice and tight up at that edge. So yeah, basically once we had finished holding it here and letting it dry out, cut it, had to sand it back a little bit to get it to fit nice and flush. And then we used white glue as far down the ribs as I could get to glue this sort of top bit on. And I think, as I said before, there's a little, oh no, that is PVA actually there. Yeah, I used PVA. And then again, of course, lots and lots and lots and lots of masking tape again. To be honest with you, we're not that bothered about using lots and lots of masking tape because it's so crap that we might as well get rid of it. Because we've got like 10 rolls of it. So for any decent stuff we would do, like if we were doing painting or something, we'd probably have to buy new anyway. As for this gap here, as you can see, it's not even as wide as the bit of string underneath. So what's probably going to happen, so it's actually that side that we glued on, because this first side you can see some of the, from the clamps, which, again, not the best way of doing it. This is wide enough though that it's about the same thickness as this. So I might end up with a sort of a sheet of this in here to fill up the gap a little bit, and then a bit of sanding and filler. Never hurt anybody. But yes, it's taking a while to do these things, which is why there's been a few gaps in the schedule of the channel and different things like that, and why some of these videos are going to be shorter, but we are on our way. We have, of course, got these little gaps to fill with some more of this sheet, just to fill in that little gap there. Yeah, we've got this stringer to put in here. We also have, if I was to do this again, to be honest with you, I'd probably leave it here, because at this point this starts angling in basically every direction. And it's a bit of a pain. It's still finished fine, and you know, all we've got to do is this bottom piece. We've got to do the front, and then basically we've got to rotate it over, and we've got to cut out holes for this bottom section. This bottom piece turned into a disaster. It really, I might even take it out because that's just horrific. Stuff like this isn't too bad, and again, this is the bottom of the plane, I suppose. Some of this stuff, of course, is going to have engine nestles and all sorts of things over it. So we've got all the wires up in the front. We've got our beck lead. I still think I'm going to do 2 becks, one for retracts, one for all the other servos. Oh no, don't say you've been glued. Don't say you've been glued. I'll deal with that later. Something I did forget, actually, when I was assembling this, is a rudder servo lead, which looks a bit short, actually, I'll be honest with you. I asked for it to be 2 foot long. Servo's going to be about there. Oh, it's just about long enough. So I've got to thread that down it at some point, which will be fun and games. Yeah. Fun times to be had. Not sure if I filmed this or not, but I do have this box in there for the retract. The retract actually goes on top of these bits of wood, not sort of under them, if that makes sense. So if I can actually find it a second. It's this one. So it sits kind of like that, because you can see that'll go forward from there and it'll clear. So yeah, that basically just sits on top of there. It doesn't go that way up, for example, like they do in the wings. They go this way up. What happens when you've got long fingers, ladies? Yep, and nose wheel like that. And then of course, somewhere on the front of here, we've got to have our droop snoot. But anyway, that is going to be it for this episode of the Concorde build stuff. I thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.